Okay, I think we're live. I meant to make sure we were live. If anyone's there, give me a second. There's going to be an echo for 2 seconds while I mute the YouTube video.
Okay.
I have so many bugs in this house.
You just you froze in a really funny spot.
I have so many bugs in this house. Okay.
That's fun. I liked your facial expression. That was good. It was good.
I like it. So yeah. Tonight we're doing just a couple hours. We're gonna stop promptly at 9. So I think we'll just start a reading sprint in a couple seconds here. But yeah, before we do, definitely introduce yourself. Tell us what you're reading. Allie, what are you reading tonight?
I am reading Parable of the Sower by Octavia Butler, which I think I was reading last week. Oh shoot, I was going to pull up the cover. Here we go. It's free on Prime Reading, I think is what it is if you have it. A lot of her stuff has become available. I don't know why, but I think it's awesome. So free.
I am reading In the United States of Africa by, I get this wrong, I do a little dyslexia, Abdurrahman Waberi. There we go. I got it right that time. And I think there's a chance I could finish it because I'm reading it at a pace of like 15 pages per 20 minutes. So
it doesn't look very big.
So little, but sometimes with a Dover Classic, you look at it and you're like, I could knock that out in an afternoon, and you're like 2 months later.
Yeah, like dense. Yeah.
Yeah, no, but it seems like a quick read so far. And then if I wear out on it or just want a change, I'm reading something on my Kindle that I have from the library that I've already let expire a couple of times, so I want to read it. I think I might have made a mistake. It's no, whatever. It's called Too Like the Lightning by Ada Palmer.
Is that part of your Africa challenge?
No.
Okay.
So another thing I did was move all of my Overdrive requests, like wish list, from Chicago to New Orleans, and then look at, so my Chicago library card will expire in a couple of years. It won't be valid anymore. You have to go validate your address every couple of years. And since I won't be able to do that, I was like, all right, let me see what everything else I could get from New Orleans, and then I could sort of just know like what I have to use or lose from Chicago. So this is one that's in the Chicago system.
Nice.
So W. Purcell says, hi, maybe praying for my grandmother. Okay. Well, it's your time. Do whatever you want. We're glad you're here.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, let's just start a sprint. Let's do a short one to get going and check in about 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay.
For me.
Time's up.
Okay.
Everybody read.
I got through a chapter, which was a lot.
Nice.
Proud of myself.
My book doesn't have page numbers on the start of a chapter. And this page got a short chapter, so it doesn't have page numbers on either page.
It's very small writing. Yeah.
Oh, it's normal. So I
Oh,
guess I did like 10 pages. I always forget that I read slower when I'm hosting because I'm, paying attention or trying to.
Yeah.
But so this book is really cool. Like, I'm really glad I found this one for the challenge. I had seen it on some lists before, but I'm really glad they had it. It's called the United States of Africa, and or in the United States of Africa, and it's flipping global economy and politics on its head and having Africa be more like the United States and the rest of the world be more like developing nations and impoverished nations. And so it's like talking about Northern European countries as like, oh, they're all these little sects. They just can't get along. They've been embroiled in war for all these years. And,
Is it fiction?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I read the foreword and I thought he was being sort of poetic in introducing this topic. And then it was maybe a couple pages in that I was like, no, I don't think that's true. Like, that's not the history I'm familiar with. And I had to sort of walk backwards and be like, oh yeah, like none of this is accurate to world history as it's taught. Although, it's trying to point out like you can see and hear and feel more of the racism and judgment as it's directed at white people in countries.
Yeah.
I like it.
It sounds good. It sounds slightly irreverent, which I like.
Yes, it's that. It's definitely that. It also, though, it does have the feel of French literature where I'm just like slightly lost. I'm slightly lost in the sentence structure and the change from one topic to the next. And I'm like, yeah, that's what it felt like to read The Little Prince or The Pleasure of the Text or literally anything I've ever read that was translated from French. Babar is slightly confusing.
Yeah, like, I was thinking of The Stranger.
I don't know that book.
That's Camus.
Ah.
Really, the only French stuff I've read, I think, has to do with existentialist authors, I think.
You didn't read Le Petit Prince or Babar?
Nope. I'm a weirdo. I didn't.
I have some picture books as well. Plummet at the zoo. I don't remember how to say that in French. It's a counting book. Two little animals at the zoo. I have so many bug bites. 'Tis the season. And apparently, my garden has just been a breeding ground for bugs for many years.
I haven't gotten them yet, but I'm waiting. I know it's coming. So.
Well, I keep going out there to I gotta change the soil. And I keep going out there, in shorts, and this is what I get. Just tiny little bites everywhere.
It's hot now. Like, it's starting to feel like, oh yeah, summer's right around the corner. Yeah.
It's not that hot.
No, but it's getting to the point where, like, when I go on my morning walk to work, I am sweaty. Not grossly sweaty, but like sweaty by the time I get to work. It's hot.
Oh, all right. Everybody's different, I guess.
I have also become vastly, what's the word? Babied. I live in air conditioning and I can control mine here, but in the office, oh my God, it's so cold all the time. I go outside to thaw. But
Yeah, that seems to be like the way offices work. And sometimes I think it's actually more for the computers than for the people.
yeah.
Computers have to be a certain amount appropriately cold.
Mm-hmm.
So I did a total Jane thing. I'm trying to get plants going in my yard, and I have to change my soil around. So before I do any of that, I'm just doing like seedlings in containers. I did, I think, 7 mostly herbs. Yeah, they're all herbs or spinach. And I didn't label the containers. We'll just see when they come up. Yeah, I mean, they're all different enough that like at some point, if they survive, like I won't be able to know like of the ones that failed which was which, but of the ones that sprout, like I know the difference between basil and mint and catnip.
Yeah, absolutely. Did you do that soil analysis thing?
I did. Maybe, yeah, I don't think the people care. I was gonna say I could share all my pictures, and then I was like, no, nobody cares. Yeah,
I was just curious because I know you had said you were gonna do that before you planted anything.
Yeah, I could kind of, I don't know. Let's see if holding my phone up does anything. So yeah, I figured out how you take the soil test, and why you dig so many holes is you dig it from like, they recommended like 10, and I think I dug like 5 or 6, maybe 8, and was like, God damn it, that's enough. But you get different holes from it. Just my space isn't that big. You know, if you were doing a bigger plot of land, it would make a lot more sense.
Right. But you're trying to get as much of an average picture of what's going on in your soil.
Right. So you do all of them, and then you mix them. Oh, so here's my little, I put seed packets there.
Oh, that's cool.
But those are not matched up accurately.
Ah.
I don't care. So last night, you know, I dug all my holes and mixed all my dirt together and made a mud smoothie. And then this morning, it settles out and you measure it. And it's hard to tell from the picture. It was really hard to tell actually just looking at it. But it settles into different layers. And then you do percentages of the total amount of 2 cups of dirt, like in inches. You're just like on the lines of inches. And then there's this soil triangle that you plot your percentages, and you get, let me see if I could actually get that. You get your, oh yeah, I could. Here's, I have to open it first. You plot your percentages, and then you know which kind of soil you have. But there's other things as well. So I think it only lets me share one screen at a time. But so this is the soil triangle.
Oh, that's cool.
So I ended up, it was really hard to tell what kind of soil I had or what the layers were, but they ended up being like right here across clay and clay loam. So it's like kind of doesn't matter. It's basically the same. But
and
there's other
gives you an idea of what you can or can't, what would survive in your dirt.
It's just one factor. So I did at the same time, I dug a hole to do a drainage test tomorrow. You have to like be able to look at it every hour. And I just knew I was going around. Hi, Kitty.
Hello.
And then I also packaged up a couple bags of soil. Apparently I have to send it to 2 different soil testing labs because LSU Ag Center no longer tests for lead, And the private lab that tests for lead doesn't test for pH or any of the other things. It doesn't give you recommendations. So the ag center sample, it'll end up costing about what I thought it was going to do one sample. So that's fine with me.
Yeah.
I just have to go to the post office. But yeah, LSU will tell me recommendations too. They'll be like, you have this pH, so if you want to plant vegetables, add this, and specific vegetables. They'll be like, if you want to plant the vegetables from this group, you need to have a pH of here, and you need to add, I think it's either lime or, I can't remember. One thing brings the pH up, and the other thing brings the pH down.
Yeah.
So yeah, so if it has lead, then basically I'm only planting spinach and flowers in the garden bed, because I don't know if anybody knows this, but spinach and sunflowers filter lead out of your earth.
Oh.
So that's a way that, like, you wouldn't eat that spinach. You wouldn't even
just use it to clean.
You'd throw that spinach away for a couple seasons. And then you're yeah, you wouldn't want to eat that spinach. It would be a lead salad. And you wouldn't want animals to eat it for the same reason. It would like climb the food chain. So yeah, then I would have to do all those herbs just in containers for a while, or maybe they won't even sprout. Who knows? And then yeah, the drainage. I know the drainage is bad, because another way to describe soil is that it's very compacted, which means like it's hard to dig into it, and there's no aeration. So that I was looking up. There's a couple things I can do, and they're different in terms of like speed of fixing the soil and ease and cost. So one way is to double dig your earth and add like perlite and compost and mulch into it, and it just, that forces the clay to break up. Another thing they do is you just, like, let's say you were a farmer, you wouldn't have the time to double dig your soil. You might till it, but you wouldn't be able to double do it. You might sprinkle gypsum on it and then till it, and the gypsum works its way into the soil from the top. It works its way in and then forces the clay to be in tighter clumps so that there's spaces between it. I don't understand the science of that, but it sounds magic and pretty cool. Another way, it's also in the like, you have to leave it for a year way, is you would put a layer of compost just on top and then a layer of mulch on top of that, like a thick layer. This was a British woman, so it was in metric that I don't really know, which is sad. But
either.
Anyway, I double checked this with a couple other sources that is a way to decompact soil that just is time, that you like let the field fallow and let the earthworms do it. If you put the compost on top, earthworms will come up and pull it down and like change it like that, which just is also pretty cool. But like if I want to plant in a couple months, I can't wait for earthworms.
No, they only work so fast.
Yeah. And then another option is, again, to sort of like trust that the earthworms are going to do their thing. Dig enough space just for where you're going to plant an actual plant, and do like take a pitchfork and do like aeration, and do like the aeration and the gypsum and the mulch, and then just double dig only where you're going to put your plants. So that's, I don't know. That's what I've learned so far, and I'm probably still like months, like at least a month from getting to a place where I have, I don't know, I could like, I don't know, maybe this weekend buy the pitchfork and the gypsum, and then, yeah, because it's going to be a while before I can actually plant things, and I can't afford to buy like all the bags of mulch, and you know what I mean? Like I could buy 2 things this weekend and let that take its time for a little minute. But yeah. And then at some point when I put the bamboo screen in, I'm definitely going to have to dig out, like just out a lot of the soil. Like I'll be stirring it in anyway, because I'll be taking out almost 2 feet in order to put the bamboo screen. So that's why I wanted my sister to come visit. I was like, definitely needs to be done. Don't want to do it alone.
Yeah. When is she coming?
No solid plans, but I have bought the seeds anyway, so Anyway, thanks for letting me plant nerd.
That's okay. I learned a lot.
I have too. I've been taking this class from the LSU Ag Center online. That officially doesn't start till Saturday, but I'm like 2 weeks in already. I'm a binge watcher. I'll binge watch a plant show.
There you go.
All right. Well, do you want to do another sprint?
Yeah, let's do it.
Do you want to do more time this time?
We can.
30?
I don't really have a
30? 40?
We can do 30. 30. We can do 30.
I think that there's a good chance we're probably not going to see newcomers this week because I think summer and winter break seem to be the season that the younger ones, the college-y ones, are available and doing all the YouTubing.
They would just like disappear.
Oh no, it's the opposite. There's been so many like readathons and live shows
because now they have time.
Yeah. So I think there's like 2 or 3 live shows happening right now. So our small intimate club will continue to be what it is.
To be small and intimate. That's fine.
But yeah, FYI, I did invite another YouTuber for next week. So if all goes to plan, that could be interesting. We could meet new people who are their subscribers, that kind of stuff. And then the following week, I haven't figured this out yet, but I'm not going to be able to stream at 7. And I know that Allie wouldn't be available earlier, but I will either skip the 14th or go on earlier in the day on the 14th. So I'll probably say that again next week, but just in case, maybe I'll put that in the comments on this video too, in case anybody finds it. And,
Good idea.
All right. So got to put the timer back up. Yeah, StreamYard doesn't let me share more than one screen at a time. Good to know. So let's do 30 this time and see how that works for us.
Okey-doke.
And yeah, maybe next we'll try an even longer one. I don't know. We'll see.
Could do that.
Ready, set, read. Hello, just tapping in. I have a show at 8. Oh, so we missed Kevy. Okay. So, say Kevy. I'm reading Mystery written by Mary Roberts Reinhardt. Well, that was very nice of Kevy to stop by.
Mm-hmm.
How'd everybody else do with reading? How much did you read, Allie?
I didn't get through a chapter. But I think I got through 4 or 5%. I don't know. I don't have pages. Oh, wait, now it says pages. I don't know how much I read.
Yeah, it's really weird. I think with books that you kind of like own, it does pages, and with books you borrow from the library, it only does location and percent. That's what I think is going on.
Well, it's never given me pages before. It's only given me locations, but now it says page.
But were your other books borrowed? Or were they owned?
I guess this is owned.
Yeah. So if your other books were library books, they don't do pages. And then if you buy it, or in this case, it's essentially like a free book from Kindle. Yeah. I think that's what's going on.
Okay.
That bothered me as well. And there were people who were like, you just tap it until it says page. And I'm like, no, it's not doing it.
Oh. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Did another 20 pages. I'm really close to the halfway mark. If I read, after 9, if I keep reading after I do what I need to do, then I might finish it. Maybe not. I'd like to. If I finish it, I'll still be a book behind for my month-long goal, and that bums me out. But, oh boy.
I don't know.
Cat just jumped into. There's like staff.
I don't know what I'm for the year.
Sorry, what?
And he just did something stupid. One of your cats did something stupid.
It was Eartha. Of all the cats, she was trying to jump into a box, and it was just like watching her fall over. Like she wouldn't let go even when she knew it was going down.
Oh, Eartha. She's goofball.
What were you saying though?
I don't know. Oh, my goal is just 12 books for the year, 1 a month. And I think I'm on 4 books. So.
My goal is ambitious.
2 very particularly long books, unfortunately.
Yeah. My goal was unreasonably ambitious, and then I didn't read for 2 months already, but I was aiming for 10 a month.
Yeah.
So I was ahead after month 1, and then didn't read for 2 months, and then, so what's that put us to? April, I made it to 10, and this month it's 8 or 9, so it's okay. I'm not, goals are just, a landmark, somewhere to start.
Yeah.
I don't have any problem with pulling it back to, 100 books a year or something instead of 120.
And my goal is to get back to that, but
or not, like what I'm realizing now that I've, got a lot of outdoor projects is like my natural amount of reading space and time is diminished. I can read a lot more audiobook than I could before. Like then my brain has a lot more activities to do, which maybe I typically try to keep it to just a third audiobooks, but maybe it'll be higher than that.
Yeah.
I'd rather finish the Africa project than make it to 120 books. I'd also rather not finish either project and like, take care of my house and my garden and eventually put away my laundry and get back to baking things when I have a kitchen and, take walks, see music, play music.
Yeah.
I don't have to only read is my point.
Yeah. I'm getting to that place too.
Yeah. Yeah, and then I do still like TV. I mean, I had been thinking of giving up Flash games anyway. And then my iPad got stolen and I gave up games. And I don't miss it. I'm like, man, that was eating up a lot of my time and my mental space.
Yeah.
And I don't, I don't think I'm actually very good at like putting limits on that activity or only doing, X amount of time or only one game. Like I get a little special interesty about my puzzle solving. And it doesn't match my values. It doesn't fit into, I don't feel really good after. It's kind of like I don't want to shame it the way I don't want to shame a potato chip. But, if all I eat is potato chips for 3 days, I don't actually feel good after, and not in a guilt way. I just like my stomach hurts, like I play Flash games at the exclusion of my other hobbies and interests. I don't actually feel good about it.
Yeah, it doesn't have the same, what the word is, it doesn't have the same like feel when you finish something as like finishing a book or finishing a task.
Well, I think in some ways, like, the craving loop, how they get you to keep playing is that it doesn't have a finish.
Mm-hmm.
And so it doesn't have that finish satisfaction. But in another way, some of the goals that we set, like gardening isn't a goal that has a finished task either. Yeah. I would say, I'm getting kind of special interesty about movement, and like my movement goals don't, oh, we missed a comment. Sorry. Wish you the best, but in the hope of self-care, I bid you the best for the night. Please let me know if you'd like to keep in touch. Yeah, we'll continue to see you, and we'll see if we can be in touch in other ways. I hope that you are okay. I'm sorry that, you are praying for your grandmother. Have a good night. I think we should, do another sprint in a few minutes. And if we do another 30, then we could do a few minutes of chatting at the end and then wrap it up.
Okay.
But yeah, I was sort of saying, just to close that thought before I got distracted. Yeah, that like, yes, I have a really good sense of satisfaction when I finish a book. But in another way, I also have a really good like push forward when I finish a book. Take it back to the library, tell people I read about it, talk about it, pick a new book, versus like, the game space that just drives you forward only in the game space. It doesn't really drive you forward in life.
Mm-mm. Well, yeah. Even like gardening or a task that doesn't have an end to it necessarily will still have, maybe not as much as a book or a TV show, but it'll still have, something to talk about with people. Listen, cat.
Sorry,
That's fine.
Sounded like the cat was, doing something really gross where they weren't supposed to do it. I was just sounds, but
I found Tobin the other day. I had left the closet open. I was reorganizing my closet, and I have a water heater that's like circular, and it sits in a square hole. And so there are these little corner pockets that he can get into. And I go back into the closet and I see, like, on the top of the thing, I just see tail and legs, like, trying to, like, push himself back up. He'd gone head first down and couldn't push himself back up. And I was like, oh, my God, Tobin. I'm, like, grabbing him by the tail. He's like, freaking out. Now I have kept all day. I have tried to keep him. He has been trying to get into the closet, and I'm like,
Don't do
why?
it.
Why? I don't know if you want to go in there or do something else, but why? Why are you bothering? Yeah, so that was my
They're
dumb cat story.
troublemakers.
Yeah, get themselves into trouble makers.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's do our last sprint
Okay,
and wrap it up for the night.
let's do it.
Okay. Read.
Hello. Okay. Did you unmute?
It didn't make any noise in me. You made noise, but it didn't tell me.
Oh.
Weird.
Hmm.
Anyway, how'd you do?
Not super great. But it was kind of like a philosophy laden part of the book that was sort of interesting. But I did about 25 pages.
Okay. I got to my halfway point, so that's good.
Yeah. My goal was to get to 50% tonight, and I'm at 54, so.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually also, I've been so distracted tonight just by being hungry. I'm surprised I was so hungry, but I was. And
yeah, I go through spurts where I'm like not hungry, and then I want like I just can't stop eating. Like I just need to eat.
yeah, well, I mean that's fairly typical, especially for people who are regularly consuming less than 2,000 calories. Like ish, depending on height, like all kinds of factors. But yeah, there is a thing where like your hunger hormones kick in a little once in a while to be like, oh, hey, we need more nutrients.
Yeah. For me, it's usually I crave protein. It's like, we want protein.
I never crave protein. That's part of like the problem of my life is that all I ever crave are like I would crave a celery stalk before I would crave a burger.
Oh.
I like burgers more than I like celery stalks, but I don't have that like go eat protein instinct.
Oh, I do.
Yeah. I don't really like nuts or peanut butter. I don't really like beans. I don't really always get along with the texture of meat. The only thing I always get along with the texture of is like a yogurty puddingy texture. That's the only thing that, when I'm having an autistic eating week or month that like chewing is scary and I choke all the time, I'm like, fine, pudding. We'll just stick with pudding. Yeah. Could they make kale in pudding form? Like not a smoothie, an actual pudding? No, they cannot. It's how fiber works. You can't do it.
I don't know that I'd want to eat that. I made it in a smoothie, but no.
Not because it's delicious, but because like the texture, Think of it as like cream of broccoli soup or something. Like cream of broccoli soup is the closest to what I'm talking about. Like you've dairied up a fiber enough that it's, slurpable.
Yeah, that is true.
But yeah. Anyway, well, I'm glad you know it about yourself and you like follow through and eat when you're hungry. It's the main thing. Snacking is just really hard with my lack of kitchen, so that's why I've been trying to be really.
I don't stock it. I'll have the inclination to want to snack, and I'm like, you can snack on a banana, but that's about all you got. I don't. Sometimes I'll have yogurt, but I don't. Occasionally, I would keep like Cheerios, but I just don't keep it. I don't keep it. So.
Yeah, I would try to have snacks that were things that I made. Like cookies that I made, or nut bars that I made, or pie or something.
Mm-hmm.
And like even the last thing of fruit I bought went bad because it was right before I got the cooler. So
I know I've been hesitant to buy fruit because the only way I can eat it or consume it before it goes bad is if I buy I love pineapple, I love cantaloupe, I love watermelon, but I can't buy the cheap fruit that you got to cut up. It's too much and I won't eat it. Or I don't cut it in time. And so then a waste. So
Well, maybe we should buddy system on some watermelon this summer.
I have been buying when I want to spend the money. I hate buying the pre-cut stuff because it's so expensive. But it's the only way I was able to eat it in a timely fashion and not worry about it.
Yeah, you end up doing that math, and it's like it's more expensive by price tag, by weight, but it's not more expensive by waste.
No, it's absolutely not, because it gets eaten. Like it doesn't go to waste.
But yeah, maybe we do some fruit by the buddy system this summer. Maybe we make some pickle some watermelon rinds. It's the season.
Pickled watermelon rinds?
Yeah, I got into this in the last couple of years, and just it was like an amazing revelation of like, oh my God, the watermelon rind is food. The traditional recipe, George Washington's recipe, was like a very sweet pickle. But I just do weird pickle. Well, first of all, I do apple cider vinegar because I'm allergic to white vinegar. And that already adds like a strangeness to it. So I've done sort of like sweet and sour. I've done like sweet and spicy, where I add like, it's got the sour from the vinegar and a little bit of sweet, and then like jalapeno. But I never found something, but like I wouldn't do dill with apple cider vinegar. But yeah, you can just do kind of flavors you're into. And you just.
What does it taste like?
A pickle.
But it's watermelon?
No, it doesn't really taste like watermelon. It tastes like a pickle. You cut them, so you
cut them like spears, like long?
Mm-hmm. Like the size of your jar, and then you get all of the green off, the outer green. So, you can leave a little pink if you want. This could be like a little bit of pink, but you get all of the outerest green. And yeah, you just pickle them with whatever flavors are the right flavors for you. And then I don't trust my own canning methods, so I shove them in the back of the fridge. And then they're, vinegar is pretty stable, but also you've got backup from the fridge.
Yeah.
And then they last kind of indefinitely. And I used to save the pickle juice and just like reuse it for the next batch. Vinegar is kind of unkillable. I guess that's why it's used as a cleaning solution. And like literally everything else, it's used as an exfoliant and a laundry softener. Anyway, all right. Well, it's 9. It's been fun. You gotta go. Do it again next week. Yay! Bye. Bye, Suncat.